You ran so quick. I'm glad to hear. You scurried up the walls to get to the stream. As one should. Hey, Zach, good to see you. First timer. Yeah, for the first 20 minutes or so, we're just chilling. Feel free to ask whatever you want. Say whatever the hell you want. Eat poop. Isabella, I might just do that. Who knows, maybe I already had my fair share of it before starting. And my belly is full. I'll tell you what. What's up, Terry? What's up, Fry? What's up, everybody? Good to see you. You love me? I love you too. What's the theme? High school. Scary high school. Cum shot. Jizz. Scary jizz stories. Jizz. You know, like cum shot. Elvis press play. Welcome back. For 5 months in the Buttersock Club says goodie. Oh, dude, I'm an idiot, man. I forgot to upload the freaking... I literally just forgot. Like, hardcore forgot to upload the bonus content. Did I get snow in PA? Yeah, we got snow. That came out of nowhere, honestly. It was like... Some days it was like 60 degrees, 70 degrees, and all of a sudden it was like... Alright, it's winter now. Time to fucking crawl back into your cave. Nick with the 2 says, life sucks, but got to keep going. You got to keep going, Nick. Life is simply just a series of peaks and valleys. Erie, PA? No, not Erie, PA. Pretty far from Erie, PA. I've never actually been to Erie, PA, to be honest with you. Listen to you on my way to from work. It's a 1-hour commute. Oh man, yeah, it's a long one. I remember commuting quite a bit for school. I listen to a lot of music, some audiobooks, mainly music. But it's funny, yeah, because back then I had to like upload everything to my Zune. I had a fucking Zune, which was like just a shitty, it actually wasn't shitty, but it was just an MP3 player. And then I didn't quite get into podcasts till later. All the high school was scary. It was terrifying. Honestly, that was always an intimidating time. I remember like starting middle school was really scary for me. And starting high school was really scary. Just because it's just new environment. And, you know, everything about... Hey, Papino Dolce with the 5 says, yo, Joel, checking in from the Trey-O, Miami for outsiders. Hope it's all well with yous and Pradeepster. I missed the past 4 lives because YouTube didn't alert me. Bitches, fuck is up with that? Annoyed voice. I don't know, dude. That sucks. I'm sorry. You gotta hit that notification bell. And the worst part is people say that they do, and YouTube still just doesn't tell them. I don't know what it is with their notification system. Sometimes I always tell people just to follow me on Twitter at Let's Read Creepy and set the notifications on there, because it seems that Twitter, at least from what it was before, was pretty reliable. Are you planning on making another video blaming on George? I probably could if I hit up Mr. George and was like, hey, can I be in another vid? And he's like, I mean, I don't know. Actually, I don't know. Does he still use guest narrators to do stuff, or is it just all his voice from now on? Remy, good to see you. Hey, Joel, may I put your name out to someone that might need voice work for a project? Yeah, sure, I don't. That would be cool. It didn't notify you last time, Falconry. Weird. I don't know. Maybe it's, and that's the thing too, is like if you come to them regularly, why, like, wouldn't it indicate that? Because the annoying thing about live streams is that, like on Twitch, whenever someone goes live, they get up to their like normal amount of people that they would get. Say they get like 5,000 people on a live stream, they get up to like 5K pretty quickly. You know what I mean? Can I say Coochie Lips? Is that your YouTube channel name? KB, welcome back for 10 whole months. Says, hey, totally missed the last few lives, so I can't wait to listen to this one. How you doing? I'm doing good, though. I'm cruising. What microphone do I use? The one that you're hearing me right now is on a Neumann TLM 103. But the one you hear for recordings, which is stacked above this one right now, that I record into, is an H4n Pro. YouTube just hates certain people. Yeah, maybe they hate me. They want to see me die. Nah, YouTube lately has been nice to me because I've been working with like a YouTube partner manager, and they keep me informed on a lot of different stuff, and it's really helpful, and it makes me feel like I have someone to communicate with there should things go ever awry. Oil City, Pennsylvania. I saw there was a story out of Pennsylvania that it was like Pottstown, Pennsylvania, that I don't know, some woman like tried to kidnap a little kid, and then the kid went into a store and told the clerk to pretend to be his mom, and she made the person go away. But it was pretty creepy. And David De La Rosa with the 2 says, hi Joel, it's awesome to hear you. It's good. Thank you, David. And David, thank you for the super thanks and all those kind of kind donations during, like, in the videos, which is something I don't see very often, but it's starting to happen more often as people leaving like donations within actual videos, which is I'm highly appreciative. So thank you. Don, I love your channel. You've helped me sleep for the last 4 years. Nice. Sleep is very, very important. Do the streams have, like, for anybody that comes to them from time to time, do the streams have a degree of sleep possibility? Maybe not so much the start of it, but as you're going, is the stream something you can sleep to, or is it too chaotic? Galactic Bitch, welcome back for 3 whole months. As I missed the last couple of lives, so I'm very happy to be here tonight. Welcome, Galactic. Good to see you. There are 7 species of marine turtle. None of them have teeth. Yeah, but don't they have a pretty prominent little structural bite? Hey, Hanny and Hannah. 2 Hannahs in the building. They will now do their little dance and form into one big Hannah called Hanoi, defender of planets. Some of the streams, not so much. Okay. I regularly fall asleep to streams or videos. Both are lived out. Okay, that's good to hear. Won't hear for the rants. What do I rant about now? Is there really anything left to rant about? I feel like we're out of rantables. Was on a cruise last week, so I missed the live streams. Glad to be here tonight with my favorite narrator. Thank you, Midnight Blues. Cruises are interesting. I went on a cruise probably like 2019. I feel like I did a lot of stuff in 2019 summertime. And it was pretty good. Well, it was cool, but there was really not a lot of young people on the cruise, which kind of sucked. And I was there with like a bunch of my friends who were like couples, so I just kind of felt like I was just meandering around. And I don't know, I got like seasick quite often, especially like you'd sit down to dinner, which is kind of ridiculous. They make you wear like button down bullshit, which I get it. You're at a nice restaurant and maybe it just adds to the atmosphere of people feeling fancy. But at the same time, if you're paying out your ass for a cruise, I want to wear fucking sweatpants to a ball, you know what I mean? I want to have like drool stains and a tunic. That's all I really think you need. Joel likes when you dream about him. Do you dream about me? Do robots dream of electric sheep? You never catch me on a cruise. If I am in the ocean, assume I'm being held against my will and save me. Yeah, oceans are. I do like the idea of the open ocean in a sort of romantic sense, but then I get out there and I'm like, holy fuck, I'm gonna throw up. Stephanie with the 5 says, Joel, I have to know what kind of chanclas do you wear because they're amplified when you gritty rubs and hugs super deep. Yes, I'm not wearing them right now, but they're called Reef. They actually have beer bottle openers on the underbelly of them, which I always think is funny. I've only ever been able to use it a few times, and every time I do, I feel like I lose half the beer because it's like tilted in a weird angle. Also, I like to imagine once in a while that like I accidentally step in like dog shit, and then I go to like crack open a beer bottle and it just like puts dog shit directly on like the lip area, and I'm like, you guys want one? Hitting the gritty, hitting the gribby, hitting the gribby. Your streams and videos give me crazy dreams. Actually, it's kind of funny. Oh shoot, dude, crazy dreams are like the best. Also, I've been finding like I just like at nighttime I just turn the heat off in the house, just everything just off, and I feel like I've been getting like the best sleep whenever the temp is like oddly enough down in low 60s, high 50s. As weird as that sounds, it's probably freezing for some, but as long as you're snuggled up, I don't know, I just feel like I go into like a really nice deep REM that has like a ton of good dreams, of which I don't recall. Hitsubasa with the 5 says, here's a question, what is scarier, deep sea or outer space? I guess outer space, just because like there's really no, like if you fall out of your ship, you're kind of fucked and just freeze to death, and or you know, oxygen, and you're dead. But I guess if you had to ask me if I wanted to be stranded on a ship in space or floating in the ocean, fuck man, I have no idea. Because I guess in space you could just like die silently, whereas in the ocean, at least I would have an opportunity to get to like an island or be picked up by some, maybe I could become a Somali pirate, you know. I think that would be a nice life. They seem like, it's not quite as glamorous with them, I feel like, as it was before. I feel like the pirates of the past, used to sing shanties and stuff, and now the Somali pirates are like, they seem kind of rude. Not as many shanties. Me too. 60 to 65. Yeah, it's a nice deep REM temp. Loggerhead sea turtles have a bite force of about 500 pounds, while alligator snapping turtles have somewhere around 1,000. Ugh. Yeah, don't stick your wiener in there. Trust me when I tell you this. If there's any advice that you take from this channel, do not stick your erect wiener in a snapping turtle's gaping maw. What do you do with the drunken sailor? Early in the morning? I don't know. I've never dealt with one that early. Probably just shave his belly again. Just find my old rusty razor collection and give him a good shearing. I'm so afraid of the ocean. Ah! And I'm so afraid of it, I typed ah. I had to type my scream out. And only a small percentage of it has actually been explored. Why? It's 2022. I know. It's the current year. Hurry the fuck up. Get down there. Get down there and find whatever it is Hannah's looking for. Her buried treasure that she lost. She has no other motivations for getting down to the bottom of the Marina Trench. What's that place called? David De La Rosa with the 1. Thank you, my friend. There was a guy in your state who stuck his weenie in a dead beaver. How did he get caught? Was the beaver not dead and ratted on him? Sold him out? I can only imagine being the guy that fucking stumbles across that. He's like, what the fuck? Hey, what the fuck are you doing, man? What? Nothing. You having sex? Is that a beaver? No. Is it dead? What? What? Who? Who? Where? When? Why? I was helping it. I was giving it a nice large log. I was just giving it some wood. Weary traveler. Bring the sugar and tea and rum. I'm gonna be working on highlighting the script more tonight. Are you guys making a scripties? You guys filming a movie? Do we got a Steven Spielberg, the future Steven Spielberg in my chat? I mean, who knows? Maybe the beaver was alive prior to being courted by that man. But we got another minute here, my friends, and we'll kick this off. Thanks for being here and all of my schizo ramblings. And like I said, we'll be reading some high school scary stories. And if you have a scary story, be sure to submit them to my subreddit, r/Let'sReadOfficial, or submit it to my P.O. box. No, not my P.O. box. My email, letsreadsubmissions@gmail.com. Or write it on an old scroll, wrap it up, and put it in a fucking bottle. And if that me floating in the ocean situation ever happens, I'll find it, hopefully. It seems dudes will just put it anywhere. Hey, we're simply testing the waters. In many ways, in the past they called us frontiersmen. Pioneers, as they say. Why do you think that one guy had a beaver hat for a hat? What do you think he did to it? And now his memory lives on in eternity. All right, my friends, if you like that mix too, that was by Chloe Z, Sunset Dream Tempo Set. CLOZEE. She's pretty sick with it, with the musics. We're gonna transition over to our spooky screen and really change up the vibe. But yes, click that share button, click that like button. It do be helping. I think. I don't know. It's probably just fucking placebo effect, but hey, I like it. And I like saying it. And I'm gonna keep doing it. But yes, how many stories we got tonight? We got 6. The devil's favorite number. Because that was his number on his old football team. Get those out. Everybody get them out. Whip out your burps. I'm a big fan of the channel, and I think I have a story you might be interested in. It's kind of a creepy / sad kind of story, but it's one that sticks with me all these years later, so I guess it's worth sharing with you. So at the start of 10th grade, this new kid called Caleb joined our school, and I had homeroom with him. You could tell right away that he was really weird. Just super socially awkward and stuff, but he mostly kept to himself, and he was built like a defensive tackle, so no one really messed with him. Plus, he just sort of blended in, too. He didn't dress weird, didn't smell, like you didn't notice there was anything off about him until you actually spent time around him. If you did, you noticed that he had this really creepy habit, and I saw it up close on more than one occasion. My homeroom seat was like the front right of Caleb. My homeroom seat was about to the front right of Caleb, meaning I could look over my left shoulder and see him right there. So this one time we're in homeroom, but it's kind of like a free period, so everyone is talking and being super loud, everyone except Caleb. Caleb was just sitting there, reading some old book he always carried around with him, and it looked like he was whispering to himself. You know the way kids kind of silently mouth the words they're reading, I guess out of habit or whatever? Well, that's what it looked like. I figured he just couldn't read very well, or that he was having trouble concentrating because of the noise. Unusual behavior, but nothing to freak out about. But as it turns out, that's not what was happening at all. Caleb kept whispering to himself, even when he wasn't reading. I caught him doing it in the hallway a few times, but I didn't want to confront him about it or anything, so I just sort of let him be. But then it got to the point where he did it a few times during the quiet parts of homeroom, like while the teacher was talking, and slowly but surely, everyone caught on to the fact that Caleb whispered to himself. The first time the teacher asked in that really cliched way if wanted to share something, if he wanted to. The first time, the teacher asked in that really cliched way if he wanted to share with the class. He just went quiet and shook his head. The second time, it was totally quiet, and it got to the point where everyone around Caleb could hear him whispering. We were trying to work on something, I can't remember what it was, but the whispering was definitely all annoying and off-putting, so in the end, someone just said, "Dude, shut up." Everyone stifled laughter, and the teacher told us to be quiet and work, so that one just ended right there. So that one ended. Everyone stifled laughter, and the teacher told us to be quiet and work, so that one just ended right there. And this went on for weeks. Every so often, Caleb wouldn't be able to contain his twerking. D, sure. Oh my god. Oh my god, with a 32-20. Thank you. I'd be whispering to myself, D, sure, at night, as I twerk in my sleep. But thank you so much. Appreciate ya. I can put that in the video, just right in the middle of the first story. What's up, David? Where were we? So this guy was about to kill the whole class or something like that. This went on for okay. You woke up scared from that? I'm sorry. Imagine your sleep paralysis demon just twerking on top of your chest. This went on for weeks. Every so often, Caleb wouldn't be able to contain himself, and he'd start whispering at some awkward moment. The third time he did it in homeroom, or at least the third time I saw it anyway, someone actually snapped and asked him who he was even whispering to. Our homeroom teacher was aware of this little issue by that time, so she tried to interject to stop the confrontation from escalating. She basically tells the kid to back off and for Caleb to stop whispering, but then Caleb kind of just pauses, turns to the kid who asked him, and just said, "My mom." The kid's reply causes a ripple of laughter because he was all like, "You talking to your mommy?" Making fun of him, and our teacher quickly jumps in and tells everyone to shut up again. Only Caleb doesn't shut up. After weeks and weeks of not saying a single word above a whisper, he suddenly finds himself all conversational. "She talks," he said, referring to his mom. "So I answer." The class didn't laugh that time, and no one had a single smart word to say in response. That was on a Friday, and then when we got back to school on Monday, creepy Caleb was gone. They pulled him out of that class so fast that you could still see his shadow that Monday morning, but since we didn't know the context surrounding it, we just kind of went on as normal as we got over it, and creepy Caleb came easy. Creepy Caleb easy. Creepy. What am I even saying? We just kind of... They pulled him out of class so fast that you could still see his shadow that Monday morning, but since we didn't know the context surrounding it, we just kind of went on as normal and we got over it. And I just said, "Creepy Caleb, easy come, easy go." Now, about a week or so later, me and my family end up driving over to my older sister's place. She and her husband had been married for a few years, and he was a psychiatrist at this big hospital on the other side of town, so they lived in this super awesome house that we enjoyed visiting as often as we could. My brother-in-law was a cool guy and would sometimes discuss certain details of certain cases with us over dinner. He wasn't too detailed. He didn't name names. It was all just shop talk, and I barely understood any of it anyways, so I normally just tuned out and did my own thing. But then, like I said, we're over one Sunday, not long after creepy Caleb got pulled out of our class, and one of the patients Are you guys singing Pearl Jam songs in the chat? Pradeep's unofficial twin is curled up right next to me. Aw. What's his twin's name? Per Shallow. Yeah, me and Hannah are brother and sister. It's a weird relationship, but we used to take baths together. It was fucking sweet. Sorry. But then, like I said, we're over one Sunday, not long after creepy Caleb got pulled out of class, and one of the patients he mentions suddenly started sounding very familiar. My brother-in-law was talking about how hard his job is sometimes, and how sometimes he has to take time to decompress on his days off. I think my dad asked him what it was that got him so stressed, as I assumed it was all a bunch of rich folks telling him their problems for huge dollar amounts, but then my brother-in-law starts talking about it being the younger people whose stories can really get to him. We're all listening intently while my brother-in-law starts telling this really sad story about a kid who'd walked into his mom. Oh. What's up, Hugo? Oh my god. Hannah, don't share that story with anyone. We're all listening intently while my brother-in-law starts telling this really sad story about a kid who'd walked in on his mom taking her own life. Not like found her body or anything like that. I mean, he walked in, and she had the gun to her head, and they were locked eyes when she pulled the trigger, and it screwed the kid up for life. We're all obviously hooked into my brother-in-law's story, but when he mentioned how they'd just had to pull the kid out of school because of a serious setback in his progress, my ears started burning. My dad asked what kind of setback, and that's when my brother-in-law mentioned something about schizophrenia, and more specifically, something about the kid whispering to himself. Mom said that I was white as a sheet by the time the whispering thing came up, and that Mom said that I was white as a sheet by the time of the fuck. Mom says that I was white as a sheet by the time the whispering thing came up, and that not long after, I blurted out, "What was the kid's name? Was it Caleb?" My brother-in-law freezes, gives me this stunned, wide-eyed look, then clearly lies when he says, "No, it wasn't Caleb." It was a blatant lie, and he never admitted to me that it was actually Caleb he was talking about, but the fact that he took me aside after dinner to give me a talking to was all I needed to know. He gave me some speech about doctor-patient confidentiality and how it would reflect... He gave me some speech about doctor-patient confidentiality and how it would reflect really bad on him if it got out that he was talking about his work. I promised to keep my mouth shut, but the news about the kid got out in other ways. I promised my brother-in-law that I didn't say anything, but he said it was cool. Half the town had been involved in the kid's treatment in some way, and rumors spreads faster than wildfire in towns like ours. Hearing the truth about Caleb was so bad that no one in our homeroom class, cream sauce. No one in our cream sauce class. Hearing the truth about Caleb was so bad that no one in our home... God, sometimes I get tongue-tied and twisted. Hearing the truth about Caleb was so bad that no one in our homeroom class talked about it after we found out. It was just too raw, knowing we laughed and joked about something so utterly terrible. This kid was broken, completely shattered by life, and we'd been too ignorant and self-absorbed to really notice. I don't know how true the version of events are when it comes to Caleb's mom, but if that is true, if she blew her own head off right as her... Goddamn. I don't know how true the version of events are when it comes to Caleb's mom, but if that is true, if she blew her own head off right as her middle schooler came through the door, what was she thinking? And what system placed her kid back in school when he clearly wasn't ready for it? I guess you see a lot of horror and creepypasta podcasts out there, but most of it's all skinwalkers and black-eyed children and stuff like that. And yours is one of the only ones that talks about stuff that actually haunts people. I know plenty of sad stories. People's parents passing away out of the blue, people missing out on their preferred colleges, etc. These are sad stories. The one about Caleb and his mom is something way different, and way worse. I can't even imagine what it must have been like for a kid at whatever age he was to see their own mother die a violent, self-inflicted death. And that's what it means to be haunted by something. Caleb was talking to his mom like he could see her ghost, and that's not some dumb story. That was real. I don't think Caleb could really see a ghost, but I do think she still existed in his mind. His brain must have been echoing her voice around his skull, and talking back must have helped in some way. Hell, if it was me, I'd do just about anything to hear my mom's voice, even if it did make me look crazy. Buttersock prophet with the Jew. In 17 nights the king of King Jacob returns. We await his returnal. Where can you get a femboy date? I hope you read me. I don't know. Probably Twitter, I guess. Just be careful in there. It can get a little spicy. Who else up trying to sleep? Eat heartily. Are you eating heartily, Sir Elliot? I have the high ground. I went to Canton High School in Michigan and graduated in 2009. It was an okay school, not great, not terrible, just average. But then in my junior year, Canton High fuck. But then in my junior year, Canton High became infamous for something one of the But then in my junior year, Canton High became infamous for something one of the students did, and that kid's name was JP. JP was in the grade above me and was this all-around unremarkable character. I was only vaguely aware of him to begin with, as the only time I'd ever paid him attention was to be like, this kid named... What? Ever paid attention to him was to be like... Ever watched a Red Chainsaw Man? I have not. No, I've heard of it though. I heard it's pretty popular right now with them there kids. I only just recently finished The Boys. All 3 seasons. It's like the first show I'd finished in like a long time. I'll like check out some stuff and just lose interest, but this one seemed to really pull me in throughout all of it. There was a kind of a period of time where after the first couple episodes, I was like, I couldn't tell if it was serious, I couldn't tell if it was comedic, but then I realized that it found a decent sort of middle ground, you know what I mean, between all of it, where there were serious parts and some pretty comedic parts as well, which was nice. I like that little mix, but like not in the corny way that like the Marvel movies are, I guess, like in a little bit more of an honest fashion. JP is in Jurassic Park? I think so. Going through life. Thanks, Fran. Good to see ya. I'm getting paid to poop at work. Fuck yeah, dude. All employees must wash their hands before returning. Wart. I was only vaguely aware of him to begin with, as the only time I ever paid him any attention was to be like, this kid's name is Jean-Pierre? No wonder he calls himself JP. No offense to any Jean-Pierres out there, as it's just not the name I'd pick for myself if I wanted to make it through high school without getting the snot bullied out of me. But after that, nothing. He was just another anxious, pale white kid who seemed to have mastered the art of not drawing attention to himself. Then one day, boom, the name Jean-Pierre. Alright, I don't actually know if I'm saying this right. Have you seen, literally see, oh, I think I heard about that show, yeah, where everybody's blind or something. But I did not watch it. Fuck. I might have to look I might have to find this guy on YouTube or something. Sorry, guys. I've got to go on investigation discovery. Oh, they call him JP. Oh, it's Chris Hansen. That's funny. Kind of like your stories, it feels real. The boys felt real. Alright, hold on, sorry. I just need to find a video that... fucking... Sorry. I just have no idea how to say this guy's last name at all. I can type it in chat. Amy, thank you. Kind of crazy how many like true crime podcasts exist out there. Sorry, guys. This is... Dude, God, every podcast always takes a fucking hour. They gotta, like, giggle about their makeup for a while. What's your real voice sound like without all the digital adjustments? Believe it or not, this is it. And then sometimes I get spooky. It's pronounced Tanzania. There you go. Orlaweiss? Orlawichi? Oh my god. I'm sorry, guys. I gotta fucking find this shit. It's such a waste of fucking time. It's so annoying. Orlawix? The voice of a god. Thanks, friend. Thank you, brother. Alright, Nina's gonna tell me. She's got the scoop. Okay, Jean-Pierre Orlowitz. Boom. There we go. Jesus. She got to the point. It took only a minute. Then one day, boom. The name Jean-Pierre Orlowitz was all anyone talked about, and for a good reason, too. It was sometime in November, I remember that much, and the first I heard was my mom asking me, "Didn't this kid go to your school?" She showed me the newspaper, and there was JP's mugshot staring back at me. He'd been arrested for murder, which seems crazy all on its own because he'd be one of the last kids I thought would be capable of killing someone. But as time went on and the details of what he did came out to the public, I couldn't believe some of the twisted stuff he'd done to the poor guy he'd offed. So, JP and his buddy heard about some random kid inheriting 40 grand from a dead grandpa or something, and they told this older guy, Danny Sorensen, to come in and join their plan to rob him. According to JP, the three had met up to actually go through with some kidnapping and robbery plan when JP had a change of heart and decided to back out. Danny then loses his temper, starts yelling and pointing his gun at him, so in self-defense, JP stabs Danny in the back. Stabbed in the back. In self-defense, it seems kinda sus, right? Well, if you think of that, you'd be right, because that's not what happened at all. According to the other kid involved, I forget his name, JP hadn't intended to rob the random guy's inheritance money at all, and that was all just a trick to get Danny Sorensen to meet them at some secluded location. Danny didn't have his gun out. He wasn't threatening JP. He literally just showed up for a robbery and got stabbed in the back. JP had always intended to kill this guy, and all because he just didn't like him. There was also a rumor that JP owed Danny a bunch of money too, and since he didn't want to pay it back, he figured that he'd just kill him instead. I don't know if that's true or not, but it doesn't really matter. Either way, he decided that the solution was to commit murder, which is all just a kind of crazy. I don't know if that's true or not, but it doesn't really matter. Either way, he decided that the solution was to commit murder, which is all just kinds of crazy to me. I don't think JP's friend actually knew what was going to happen until the night of the murder because both he and JP said the guy just stood back, watched, and did nothing as he started stabbing Danny Sorensen. Some people say that he was there to be the lookout, but I know the defense team said that it was because he was so horrified by what was happening that he was frozen into... Some people say that he was to be the lookout, but I know the defense team said it was because he was so horrified by what was happening that he was frozen to the spot. I don't know how true that is, but it's definitely true that JP started doing some messed up stuff to Danny's body after he stabbed him. I heard that what JP wanted to do was to bag Danny up in a tarp, hang him upside down from a tree, and then set him on fire. And then he wanted to chop Danny's head off while he was hanging there burning like some sick parody of a piñata or something. In reality, JP didn't get up to anything quite so fancy. Instead, he used a hacksaw to cut Danny Sorensen's head off. Wait, what the fuck? I feel like we went from a story about, like, didn't he say about self-defense? I thought, like, I don't know, my fucking reading comprehension is terrible. I just thought I didn't even know he went through with the murder. It made it sound more like, initially, like some altercation happened, they stabbed, and then it was over, or so, I don't know. Alright, anyways. Oxy, what's up? In reality, JP didn't get up to anything quite so fancy. Instead, he used a hacksaw to cut Danny Sorensen's head off, then used a blowtorch to burn his fingerprints off so it would be harder to ID his body. After that, JP drove the guy's body out to some random field, then set his headless torso on fire. One of the things that shocked everyone was how JP had apparently played with the guy's head after cutting it off. I think his buddy. Was I a Dare kid? My one 5th grade Dare shirt fit me for quite some time after. And it was cool to wear around because people knew in reality that, in fact, I was not against drugs. In fact, I thought they were pretty cool. I think his buddy told either a cop or the actual courtroom that JP had tried to make it all talk like a puppet or something. Make it all talk. Oh my god. This is fucking weird. That guy was a real jerk. I see your Norm reference. Holy shit. That goes to show you how many like Norm Macdonald shorts I watch on YouTube Shorts. One of the things that shocked everyone was how JP had apparently played with the guy's head after cutting it off. I think his buddy told either a cop or the actual courtroom that JP had tried to make it talk like a puppet or something. It also really didn't help that JP was cold and dead-eyed during the trial. I heard people were describing all this horrific stuff that he actually did and just sat there, totally unemotional. And like for the judge, it was a murder trial, but for JP, he acted like it was just a Tuesday. I don't know how long JP got in prison, but I know it was a pretty long time, and I know he got even more than a usual murder on account of how he did all that evil stuff to the guy's body afterward. And I swear though, of all the people I knew in high school, if you asked me to rank them in order of likeliness to murder someone, JP would have been way down near the bottom. I just can't picture him cutting a dude's head off with a hacksaw, but he did it. I suppose it really is the quiet ones who turn out to be the biggest psychopaths. Do I listen to Bill Burr's podcast? I do like Bill Burr, and I'll hear random little snippets from time to time, but I don't listen to the actual podcast too often. I enjoy his stand-up comedy and his various rants about things. Like him ranting off the cuff and like Tim Dillon ranting off the cuff are some of the best just natural ranters you've ever heard in your life. They can just, I don't know, their capability of just making fun of absolutely anything is, I mean, I guess really a lot of like stand-up comedians have that gift. It's pretty hilarious. The gift of gab. Dare was one of the worst programs ever. Anyone else get stoned and then those anti-drug commercials would come on and just make you giggle. It's very disrespectful to all the people, to all the one people that died of smoking weed, which was Bruce Lee. And I guess because he had some sort of brain inflammation or something, and the THC made it bad. I don't know. Maybe that was a rumor. Maybe I have no idea how he died. Bill Hicks. Bill Hicks was somebody from the past stand-up comedy crew that I had not listened to that much. I've heard some of his stuff, but I need to listen to more of it. I never had the Dare Talk, and O2 kid I was too young, or was school not cool. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they still do Dare. I mean, like, at the end of the day, I feel like it's up to the parents to, like, make sure, because, I mean, kids still get into shit no matter what, so maybe they thought that Dare was just a waste of fucking time and money. Or maybe they saw, like, they did some stats, and they're like, huh, all these kids wearing these Dare shirts are now addicted to heroin. Maybe we need to switch it up. What grade was Dare? I think like 4th grade, 5th grade. I think it went on for a while. I even remember, like, doing something in middle school or something, and there was this one kid. He just anytime he talked, he was always just like like, and he didn't even smoke or anything, but like he just seemed like a stoner when he would talk about stuff, and he would laugh about everything with like squinted eyes and like a big smile. And I just remember the officer that, like, you had to like act out something. The officer was like cracking up because he was like, holy shit, this kid's spot on. I went to a fairly small K-12 in a very affluent suburb of Chicago, maybe only 200 students at the most. We all came from the same 2 or 3 neighborhoods, and we all went to the same churches. Everyone knew everyone, even the teachers were some of our neighbors, and that's what made it all the more disturbing when something was found in the school's computer lab, something that affected almost every single kid in school. One day, we went into school first thing in the morning only to find that a special presentation had been called. That meant we all had to file into the gymnasium and listen to whatever announcement the principal had to tell us. It was usually something completely inconsequential that could have easily just been announced by our homeroom teachers, but what is high school if not a series of minor inconveniences? Anyway, we file into the gym, get sat down on the bleachers, and then we're just sitting around, murmuring to each other in exhaustion, waiting for the principal to arrive so he can get it over with. Finally, he shows up and apologizes for being late as he walks through the door, swiftly followed by an older-looking police officer. You could feel this wave of equal parts curiosity and dread wash over the gym, as the presence the police officer probably meant some kind of... As the presence... Well, maybe of, presence of... A double dog, dare ya. What about the really big older guy? What's his name? He's always on Joe Rogan. Is it the Joey Diaz? Is that who that is? I never really watched much of Joey Diaz stuff, but I don't know. I don't even really watch Joe Rogan that much. I just catch like a lot of out of context clips of just different topics that are interesting. You could feel this wave of equal parts curiosity and dread wash over the gym, as the presence of the police officer probably meant some kind of heavy announcement was about to be made. We all hung on to the principal's every word when he said the officer had come to talk to us about something that had been found in the computer lab. The police officer then took over and told us that the school had alerted him to something very illegal and very unsettling that either a student or a teacher had left behind. They didn't give any specifics on what it was, but curiosity was inflamed by the use of the term obscenity laws and how breaking them was an arrestable offense. I don't know about you, but I definitely didn't know what obscenity laws were in 11th grade, but our curiosity meant we looked them up as soon as we were able, because we basically had no idea what the cop had said other than someone was in a whole bunch of trouble. As far as we could tell, obscenity laws mostly involved, like, lewd stuff. But the legalese which broke down the laws were peppered with words like abnormal unhealthy, degrading, shameful, or morbid interest. So, lewd, but something a little messed up in there too. That was creepy all on its own. Not knowing exactly what had been found, but knowing it involved something pretty freaking gross. Then also knowing that whoever was responsible for that stuff was just walking among us at school. This was before we even knew what had been found, and the whole school felt like that too. There was this really creepy and nervous atmosphere at school for a while. Over the next week or so, the principal and vice principal went about questioning every single kid in the school, and as far as I know, we all got the same speech. If we were involved in any way and knew the owner of what had been found in the lab, we needed to be honest because the truth was going to come out eventually. It was a total bluff that Theo Vaughn. Yeah, dude, Theo Vaughn he's a funny guy. There's so many comedians, like, I don't know, they sit there and pretend like they're idiots, but then especially like ones from the South, like comedians from the South always pretend like they're dumb, but then they'll bring out some, like, I don't know, talk about the skeletal contractions within the human nervous system or something, I don't know, you know what I mean, like just going into fucking some extensive like research that they've done on nervous tissue or human psychology or something. And I guess that kind of what's to a degree kind of makes people funny, or I think funny people they have to be a little bit more intelligent than others, you know what I mean, to always kind of be in character to a degree, Folks have to live without needing someone to hold their hand all the time. Some people can't handle drugs, I agree. Yeah, I guess if you're not used to it. Did you see when Mike Tyson took a handful of shrooms on Logan Paul? I think I did see him do that, yeah, like just shove them in, and they were like, oh god. And I was curious, like, what happened from that point. I'd like to see Mike Tyson tripping. It was a total bluff. They didn't know squat, and over time, the details of the incident filtered through the student body. The offending object had been a USB stick, one that contained some very, very bad stuff. There had been a security camera in the computer lab, but the USB stick had been found on the floor in the middle of the room, so the camera quality and positioning meant it was impossible to determine who the USB stick actually belonged to. Word was that the computer science teacher had done his best to reverse engineer the info on the USB, I guess, or whatever he did to find out where the drive had come from, but again, no such luck. The whole investigation basically came to a screeching halt, and we had to just go on living and studying in the knowledge that someone had done something very messed up involving computers. It took maybe a month for the truth to actually come out, and although I didn't believe it at first, but as the rumors grew louder and louder, the lack of denial from the school authorities spoke volumes. I was literally waiting for that special assembly to dismiss all the rumors at the very minimum, but it didn't happen. The rumors grew and grew, and our teachers couldn't or wouldn't bring themselves to deny them, which, in my mind, means they were accurate. And in turn, I found that I should read Houseway horror stories. You gonna send some in? And, in turn, I found that nothing short of horrifying. To put it in as sensitive way as possible, the rumors involved what was on the USB stick that had... To put it in as sensitive a way as possible, the rumors... To put it in as sensitive a way as possible, the rumors obviously involved what was on the USB stick that had been found. For weeks, we'd assumed it was pictures of some kind, but when I heard it was actually written literature that had been so obscene and offensive, I was very confused. If it was just writing, what could have possibly been so bad about it? It didn't take too long to find out. Someone had written a bunch of, we'll call it fan fiction. That was the euphemism that was going around our school, and I'll be honest, I didn't quite know what the term referred to. But when I found out the details, I discovered it was anything but fan fiction. Someone had written stories involving almost everyone in school, almost like they were systematically ticking people off as they went. And while the inclusion of real people wasn't the disturbing thing, what the author had written them during... Oh, I see. I saw ear-shaped edibles. Yeah, that's funny. And while the inclusion of real people wasn't the disturbing thing, what the author had written them... Sorry, I don't know why this fucking makes no sense. What the author had written them doing... Okay. While the inclusion of the real people wasn't the disturbing thing, what the author had written about them doing was deeply unsettling. From what I heard, the contents of that flash drive were some of the most violent and viscerally disturbing literature you can imagine, and whoever had actually read it obviously couldn't keep it to themselves, hence why the rumors came tumbling through the grapevine at us. Accurate rumors, too, by the looks of things. The writer had students doing things to each other. Awful, terrible things. Teachers, too, in some parts. The whole thing was a bigger deal than when one of the freshmen was caught with some super violent Japanese movie, and I know that was bad, so whatever was on the USB must have been way, way worse to bring in the cops. I guess it was because the principal figured that whoever wrote that stuff was actually thinking about some real-life violence at some point, and that IDing them might stop a future incident or something. But they were never ID'd, so the whole thing just sort of died after a while. Officially speaking, it died, but the students never forgot. It's been almost 20 years since I graduated high school, and the stories about the flash drive still run rampant around my alma mater. I spent the rest of my time there wondering who would be so sick as to write a bunch of stuff like that, and the worst thing, there was no obvious culprit. There was no one we could single out to be like, it was definitely him or her who wrote it, so we could avoid them, and it could have been anyone. Whoops. Hey, Lynn with the 2 says, guess who got off work early? Hashtag never miss one. I never miss. I never miss. I never miss at all. You have to tell people who don't get notified what it is that you do to always be notified. There was no one we could single out to be like, it was definitely him or her who wrote it, so we could avoid them, and it could have been anyone. So unless it was one of the students who transferred out for senior year, we were forced to rub shoulders with someone who fantasized about some frankly unspeakable things, never knowing for sure who that person was. Needless to say, I was glad to get out of that school, and even gladder when I moved out of state for college. And I hope I moved very far from whoever wrote that sick fan fiction. Is Molly here? She always joked about writing fan fiction. I was going to say, is this you, Molly? Rachel, welcome back for 4 months. I haven't been here in a while because of craziness in my life, but glad I didn't miss this one. Hope all is well. Thank you, Rachel. No worries. Good to see you, and I hope things are going well in your life. Appreciate you. In high school, you wrote a comic where your friends fought the faculty. That's awesome. I could understand that. I guess for some, it's kind of just like an outlet, you know, as long as it doesn't manifest to anything. Is this the real number of likes? You might have to refresh it, because sometimes you don't really see like the accurate number of likes. But either way, thanks for being here, everybody, and clicking like. Always appreciate it. Oh no, Mr. Kool-Aid Man. Oh no, you better fix that hole in the wall before my dad comes home and beats me with a toaster. You better, Mr. Toaster Man. Of all the guys and girls I went to high school with, the creepiest was by far this guy called William. I used to sit near him in chemistry class during my junior year, and he had this habit of mumbling stuff to himself before laughing in this really creepy way. It was like he was trying to stop himself but couldn't, and it always seemed like whatever he was laughing at was either real mean or real dirty. He used to get picked on by the football players, and pretty bad sometimes too, and sometimes he'd lash out in ways that meant that he'd be the only one who got into trouble. I think these days he might have been diagnosed with Asperger's and put into a special class or something, but back then, he was just the weird kid. At the end of junior year, I learned that he and his family lived just a few houses down from me. I didn't hang out with him or anything, but I would see him around every once in a while, and sometimes I'd say hi. I kind of felt sorry for him, and I figured that he'd appreciate someone just being cool with him. But he just always seemed very angry and socially awkward. So on the rare occasion that I did try and talk to him, he always just brushed me off like it was me who was the lame one. I didn't feel sorry for him after that, let me tell you. And over the course of senior year, William just got angrier and weirder and more socially awkward. No one tried to help him or intervene because we all just thought that he was a jerk. If he'd have been cool with just about anyone, he'd probably have found people to hang out with, but he wasn't, so he stayed lonely. But then the longer he remained alone, the weirder he got. In retrospect, he was a ticking time bomb, and it was only a matter of time before he blew up, and when he did, it was really, really bad. I remember packing up my guitar and a few tabs books with the intention of going to band practice. Then, when I walked out into the street, I looked right to see a whole bunch of cop cars, ambulances, and fire trucks parked all over the place. I'd never seen so many emergency vehicles in one place in my whole life before, so I knew right away that something bad was going on. I wanted to know what was happening, but I also didn't want to be late for band practice, so I figured I'd just find out later from Mom and Dad when I got home again. Finding out was a weird experience because I didn't expect it, but it also made all the sense in the world, the kind of thing you felt stupid for not seeing coming. For some reason, Will had put on a trench coat and a paintball mask, then went around the neighborhood with a loaded shotgun, just shooting at people. First, he walked just a few doors down, opposite direction he lived from us, then walked up to the person's driveway. He then just knocks on the door, shoots the person who answers, then walks inside to kill the other neighbor. Our direct neighbor heard the shots and walked out into the street, then had to watch as this masked kid aims a shotgun at them and pulls the trigger. By some sheer miracle, the gun didn't fire, so he panicked and ran back inside his house to reload or grab a different gun or whatever. But then by that time, the cops had already been called. They surrounded his house, and instead of going out shooting, William checked out early. I later heard that he was very active on some internet forum. I'm not sure if it was Reddit. It was Reddit. Oh my god. Reddit will do that to you. Hey, Rachel Stevens with the 5 says, "Hey Joel, Pradeep in chat. I hope all is well and hope everyone had a great night and sweet, delicious dreams. Love you." Thank you, Rachel. We must collect our dreams. Never collab with Corpse Husband? Yeah, here and there. Just, I think one time on my channel and one time on his. Just very brief kind of collaborations and that kind of thing. And, he used me as the cover art for one of his singles on his songs. I have, black and white hair on it. Looking pretty cute. I later heard that he was very active on some internet forum. I'm not sure if it was Reddit or Tumblr or what, but he'd already talked a bunch about going on some kind of killing spree before taking his own life. The comments on his posts mostly consisted of people calling his bluff, telling him he was chicken and that he didn't have the balls. I heard the rare few comments where people urged him to get help were downvoted or trolled, and there wasn't a single thread of compassion shown to him. I guess that makes them no different from us in a way. We didn't show him much compassion either. We should have looked past whatever mental Do I know if saxophone beats piano or vice versa? Well, they're both very unique instruments, for the most part. But I would say overall, the piano and its utility, like piano is one of those instruments I feel like that has such a base sort of foundational aspect to it that if you can learn how to play piano and just understand music on a kind of in those core concepts early on, it can just translate to so many other things. And it can be it can be I just noticed that it's used a lot more in music than a saxophone. You know what I mean? Like when you hear a piano, you're like, oh, it's a piano. You can hit on so many different vibes and emotions and feelings and that kind of thing. But then with saxophone, it's just like you're like, oh, that's a fucking saxophone. Holy shit. Now, does it make songs awesome? Yes. Your guitar is your religion. I think it should be. I always remember there was one guy in Pokemon, like a trainer that you fought. I think he was the only character in the thing, but he had a guitar, and that was his thing. He's like, it's just me and the guitar out in the open sea, baby. Wherever my guitar leads me. I killed that guy in Pokemon. It was the only character you were allowed to actually attack directly with Hyper Beam. I guess that makes them no different from us in a way. We didn't show him much compassion either. We should have looked past whatever mental issues he had and gotten him the help he needed, and by we, I mean the community as a whole. Another horrifying little detail is that the widow of one of the people who were killed actually worked with my brother. Another horrifying little detail is that the widow of one of the two people who were killed actually worked with my brother. He saw her take the phone call from the police telling her that both her husband and daughter had been murdered in their own home. I know I sound like some kind of bleeding heart hippie with this take, but remembering William and what he did just makes me sad, and as dumb as it may seem, I think I actually feel kind of guilty over it. I tried, but I don't feel like I tried hard enough. No one did, and because we all let him get worse and worse, he ended up killing two innocent people that I had known since moving to that neighborhood. Two people lost their lives, but it could have been way, way worse, and even then, the whole thing ended up haunting our neighborhood for years and years to come. Is that a knock on SpongeBob? So SpongeBob, or Squidward played the flute, I think, not the saxophone. Though that would be pretty cool. Cornflake Girl vid is cool. What's that? Is that a Corpse Husband song? Cornflake Girl? That's my next hit. Cornflake Girl. Anyone seen Nathan For You smoke detector as an instrument? No, I haven't seen that though. Dude, that guy's a fucking genius. I think, wasn't there like only like one, there was only like one skit ever where he like broke character and actually laughed. And I don't know, I think it was like, there was like some old man at a convenience store that he was like trying to flip or change or whatever, and it was like something to do with like the picture of his grandson. I don't know, but it just made him laugh. Like the guy's response just made him laugh really. Like, wait, what? Will there be a stream during Thanksgiving? Maybe actually, just because usually the Thanksgiving festivities are in kind of like early midday, like between noon and 2 p.m. There were a few times he broke character out. That's funny. Yeah, that guy's something else. What's the one? What was the one where he's like he has to solve? So he has to do like a David Blaine thing. He has to like solve a puzzle, but if he doesn't, his pants will be ripped off in front of like a classroom, and then there's a police officer there to fucking ready to arrest him. It's just so fucking stupid. Alright, we got 2 more stories. Man, we're kind of blazing through this. What the fuck? What was the song he did with Corpse? It was E-Boys Are Ruining My Life. I was on... he used my picture on the album art. Back in 2013, 52-year-old Patrick Lee Mullins was living in a quiet contentment. What? Was living in quiet contentment in Florida's Manatee. Okay. Does anyone know where to get like good insoles for your shoes? Because I get these like I have a pair of running shoes and I got new like walking shoes, and I don't know why on my like right foot it feels like it's fucking, it's killing me, man. Horchata, thank you. Good to see you. Back in 2013, 52-year-old Patrick Lee Mullins was living in quiet contentment in Florida's Manatee County. He and his wife Jill were looking forward to celebrating their 30th wedding anniversary and were the proud parents of an Army combat veteran and civil engineering student. The men in the family were close and often spent time fixing up off-roaders, then taking them for test spins, but without a doubt, Patrick's passion in life was his job. For Patrick, being a librarian wasn't so much a career as it was a vocation, and he relished the opportunity to encourage students of all ages to enrich themselves with the written word. He was very successful in his endeavors too, as with his dry sense of humor and cool uncle charisma, Patrick was popular with teachers and students alike. But Patrick had another passion: sailing. Having grown up in Florida. Just kidding. Very disappointed I don't know who Tori Amos is. She is such an amazing artist. You'd like her, I'm sure. Yeah, I feel like let me look. Tori Amos. Crucify. Yeah, I don't recognize her. I like her red hair, I guess. Get those old man New Balances. Well, I fucking have Brooks on right now, dude. I'm fucking old as they come. But for whatever reason, like, my goddamn, like, arch in my right foot must just be blown out or some shit. Who's PewDiePie? I don't know. I never heard of him. Some chiropractors have a foot machine, prescribes you insoles perfect for your feet. Hope it feels better. Oh, thank you, Sandy. Yeah, maybe I'll look at that. Maybe I'll talk to a chiropractor who might get me figured out. You like that background footage? That's Mr. Robin, the god, the goat god. Bah. I think he's actually tending to some goats lately. Having grown up... fuck. Having grown up on Florida's Anna Maria Island, boating and fishing ran deep in Patrick's veins, and he often spent time fixing up old Evinrude boat. Evinrude? The fuck is that? The fuck is this? The fuck is this? Evinrude, alright. Evinrude boat motors, alright. Hey, Let's-Read, would you get mad if I say that I really hardly watch or play your edit videos? I mean, I love your live streams. I prefer these videos. You're fine. Yeah, that's fine. Especially if you get the stories, you know, or whatever you're looking for in that regard from me reading through them anyways. It's... Did you start out with the edited videos, or did you just stumble across the live stream? PewDiePie still around? He is, yeah, he does. PewDiePie does well on YouTube still. I think he's just living his best life. He like pretty much just makes you laugh, you lose videos, or he does like a little vlogging stuff when now he lives in Japan. Whatever, do conspiracy theory stories, Joel? I don't know. I think it would attract too much negative attention from like the demonetization aspect of YouTube, because I don't think they're like a big fan of telling the truth or whatever, or that kind of shit. Know if your feet pronate or supinate, then look up the walking store. Okay. PewDiePie lived in your town? Oh, that's cool. In what's it called? Fucking Sweden. Mr. Beast can buy everyone here a house. Yeah, but can Mr. Beast buy me a new grandma? I don't think so. Having grown up in Florida's Anna Maria Island, boating and fishing ran deep in Patrick's veins, and he often spent time fixing up old Evinrude boat motors when not working on his off-roaders. Pat owned a 16-foot stump knocker skiff that he regularly took out onto the Braden River, testing the engines that he had recently tinkered with, and on January 27th of 2013, he sailed his boat out for a late afternoon sailing. Pat's wife didn't think anything unusual when she returned to an empty home after visiting family, but as the evening drew on and her husband failed to reappear, she became concerned and called their sons. Upon learning that their father was missing, their engineering student's son rushed home from the University of South Florida in order to aid his mother. Clash Fox, what's going on, dude? Dr. Octavius, welcome to the Butter Sock Cult. You now have access to bonus content. I should do a collab with Mr. Nightmare. I would like to. I really am curious, like, if he has a price. I know that sounds bad, but I am curious, like, how much would I have to pay him for a shout out and one? And maybe it wouldn't even amount to anything. Maybe I'd be like sorely disappointed. But I would be curious if all the people that listen to his videos, I'd be interested to find out how many of them were like, oh, I didn't even know Let's Read existed. This is very convenient. Upon learning that their father was missing, their engineering student son rushed home from the University of South Florida in order to aid his mother in the search effort. As Jill called 911 to officially report her husband missing, Patrick's family and friends began searching the neighboring streets and waterways and were joined the following day by detectives from the Manatee County Sheriff's Office and other law enforcement agencies. The same day as the investigation began in earnest, a member of the Tampa Bay Pilots Association spotted an abandoned boat with its engine still running out near a place called Egmont Key. Egmont Key. I do like that the little islands in Florida are called keys. It's just so cute. It's just a cute little stupid fucking thing. Egmont. Egmont. What the frick? Egmont. Alright. The same day as the investigation began in earnest, a member of the Tampa Bay Pilots Association spotted an abandoned boat with its engine still running out near a place called Egmont Key. The boat's captain reported the boat adrift at around 10 a.m., and shortly afterwards, it was confirmed as having belonged to the beloved high school librarian. Detectives noted with interest that the boat was found a considerable distance from where Pat would have launched on the river, at least a 2 or 3 trip. A 2 to 3 trip. I assume day trip? 2 to 3 day trip. Feels good to continue the butteriest of the socks. Hell yeah. Thank you, Octavius Decorius. He's the sleepiest, the snoriest. Detectives noted with interest that the boat was found a considerable distance from where Pat would have launched on the river, at least a 2 to 3 day trip from his home. If he was simply testing the engine, as he so often did, there was no reason for him to sail out so far, so police were forced to conclude that whatever caused Patrick... A 2 to 3 hour trip from his... Okay, that would make sense. I'll say hour. Hour would make more sense. Detectives noted with interest that the boat was found a considerable distance from where Pat would have launched on the river, at least a 2 to 3 hour trip from his home. If he was simply testing the engine, as he so often did, there was no reason for him to sail out so far, so police were forced to conclude that whatever caused Patrick to vanish had occurred much closer to home, and that the currents took the boat downstream. But what exactly happened to Pat whilst out on the river that made him disappear into thin air? To answer that question, the authorities quickly organized a wide search of the surrounding area, one which covered more than 2,200 square miles and lasted almost 3 days straight. The search effort included sick boats, everyone was sick on the boat. Fuck. Let's go, bro. Can you read Dr. Zeus or Smut? What's Dr. Zeus? Is that like Dr. Seuss? Or is that naughty? He's a British Indian music composer? I don't know. The search effort included 6 boats from the Florida Fish and Wildlife Commission, a search and rescue team from Eckerd College, and even a C-130 military airplane equipped with cutting-edge sensory equipment. It was one of the most impressive search efforts in Florida's history, but sadly, it was one that had to be called off just a week after Patrick went missing, when a charter boat fisherman made a horrifying discovery. While fishing off Emerson Point near the mouth of the Manatee River, the fisherman spotted what appeared to be a mannequin in the shallow waters under his boat. Yet when the seas calmed a little and the fisherman was able to get a better look, he recoiled in horror. What he had been staring at was no mere mannequin. It was the body of Patrick Lee Mullins. Upon receiving the news that Honestly, very good podcast. Thanks, Clash. I appreciate you. We're ranked top 100, baby, in the true crime category. For the longest time, I wanted to hear you read. When I was young, I had no sense. I once peed on an electric fence. Owie. Ow, ow, ow. It burns my pee-pee. OnlyFans will be magic. I always like how, well, you know what? If I did OnlyFans, I would feel so terrible taking all that hard-earned business from all of those beautiful people. Because I know for a fact that as soon as I showed up, I would be in the top 0.1% of hottest sexies. What do they call them? Sexies? Hello, sexies. Reading smut novels. I wonder how often I would have to post, you know what I mean? Also, I wonder if I did the OnlyFans, if it would make me look, if people would lose respect for me. I would hate if they losed respect. The hairiest content creator imaginable. Wish I'll make a bunch of stories where Joel is the main character, have a Joel story only night. That'd be fun. That would actually be hilarious. If you guys went on, well, okay. That would be actually hilarious, and I would read some of those probably on the live stream. But if you guys did, and they could be funny. I would actually prefer if they were funny or just like stupid as fuck. But if you went onto my subreddit, r/Let'sReadOfficial, and wrote some funny ass fan fiction, whatever you wanted to write, as long as I guess it, you know, isn't terribly bad. But and then just in brackets in the title, just like, you know, wrote Joel fan fiction, I probably would read that shit. That'd be funny. You just sounded like a text-to-speech person. Oh, really? Which one? Me when I hit the gritty. Me when I hit the gritty. Me when I hit the gritty in front of my grandma's whole bocce ball team. Our anonymous scare creator scared since Dream failed his face reveal. Did he fail it? Did they give him an F+? I thought he did all right. My theory was that, like, whenever they leaked his shit, they leaked his picture when he was down bad, right? But then he had a glow up, you know, where he lost 200 to 300 pounds or whatever, and, like, you know, he's got to keep people updated. So people, you know, still want to chat him up. I don't know. Some of the posts that he does, like on his story and stuff, right? Like I see people like caption it and meme on him, which, you know, is an inevitability. But I think he's like pretty self-aware and pretty okay with it at this point. I think he probably feels to a degree just like untouchable. Like he just does not fucking care anymore. And I don't blame him, you know what I mean? Like, you are a Minecraft god. He defeated the Ender Dragon in less than, I don't fucking know, 5 minutes? What's the new record? What's the new record on the street? What's Guinness saying? Do you ever meet people in public and they hear you talk and recognize your voice? Sadly, no. That'd be fun, though. I would like that a lot. Honestly, I always thought one of my biggest motivations to do YouTube, but more so since YouTube's kind of anonymous, but like if I did like a voice acting thing, right? And then you go to a convention, and then you're at the convention, and then people like just want to be your friend because you did this fucking thing, and then you completely cut out all that other middle ground. You know, like in life, there's so much like middle ground bullshit, right? When it comes to like social interaction. Like, it's like you have to prove yourself, that you're interesting. You have to prove that you're not a murderer. You have to prove, you know what I mean? You have to prove so much stuff. But then whenever you're, like, cool to somebody or, you know, or interesting to them, they just already want to be your friend. And it's nice because if you're a nice person, you're like, I'm a dog. I want to be everybody's friend. You know what I mean? So... Anyways, I put on my collar, and I get shocked. I think I would break if I was famous. I can barely survive my mother's hypercriticism. Yeah, no, I feel you. I feel you, dude. Yeah, it's, that's part of the reason I wouldn't want to go on there, because like, whenever I go back and I check the comments on the live streams, because not these ones specifically, but like when the live stream, goes, it's like turns into a VOD and you can watch it later. There's some people that for whatever reason get notified for that, but not the actual live stream. So they either think the live stream is going on, so they say stuff like, hey, can you do this? And it's kind of funny because it's like, no, dude, this is a VOD that you're reacting to. But also some of the people that are just like, I don't know, maybe they leave a negative comment like, this is stupid as fuck. Why is he talking and not reading? I'll kill him. Or like all of his ideas and thoughts are silly and dumb. It's not super frequent, but it's for whatever reason, those ones tend to like, sting just a tad more than someone saying that my that my twerking ain't good, but that ain't true, or is, I don't know. Twerk so hard I got sick. Sick Rick with the Hardiky 50. Holy shizzers, thank you, my friend. Appreciate you. Thank you. No message to go along with it, but if you do, please do at me so I can say thank you again. Famous people get treated like they're not people, like they're supposed to be gods or something. No, for real, that would suck. Because I thought about the time that I met Tyler, the Creator, at an airport. I told that story before. Stupid story, honestly. It's not even that exciting, but it was just like, I didn't think that I would be starstruck to like see an actual star. But then when I was just like, hey, Tyler, and he was just like, oh, what's up, man? What's going on? Like he was not in the mood. And at first I was thinking like, oh, he doesn't like me. But then I'm like, you know what? He probably gets like, hit up every fucking 10 seconds by every human on the earth that I'm just like another dumb idiot, you know what I mean? And yeah, I'm glad that like sometimes you walk out of the grocery, like even just you walk out of the grocery store and you're like, oh, it's nice to just walk out of the grocery store into your car and not be bothered by a single other human being. Whereas it actually can probably feel a little bit anxiety inducing if you were famous and you had to have someone come up and be like, you fucking suck, dude. You fucking suck. I saw what you said on Twitter. I don't agree. Goodbye. And then they kill you, right? Or you have that experience and then somebody else comes up and like, hey man, oh my fucking god. Oh my fucking god. And that probably scares you a little bit. You have your heart drops in a similar like fight or flight response as you did to the one guy that killed you. And then they start licking your face because they love you so much. That would be a little bit, it wouldn't be that bad. I think that'd be kind of cool. Marcus with the tents, his first time chilling the stream, and this is a good vibe. When do you usually stream? Usually Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday, which is the nights before YouTube uploads, which is Monday, Wednesday, Friday, normal uploads. So streaming the evening before. And it's usually between like 9 and 10 p.m. start time, EST, Eastern time. He would hide in the nearest bush. Hanny, he would do a tactical lick. Does Mortis Media go live? I've never seen him live before. Okay, thank you again, Marcus, and thank you again, Rick, my friend. Appreciate you for the both you guys. Nice, generous, kind-hearted peeps. Peeps. Thanks, peeps. Me. Upon receiving the news that his body had been found, Patrick's loved ones were understandably heartbroken. But there was still an overwhelming consensus among family, friends, and law enforcement that whatever had occurred was nothing but a tragic and untimely accident. Yet this only made it all the more terrifying when the coroner's report made it evident that Patrick's death was no mere accident. The cause of death had been a single shotgun blast to the head, and a 25-pound anchor had been tied to his legs. Naturally, Patrick's loved ones were devastated as the circumstances of his death suggested foul play was to blame. So when the Manatee County Sheriff's Office returned with a verdict of more streams once a week on YouTube, that's cool. I feel like one stream a week is pretty solid. I tune in after spacing out for a minute and the first thing I hear is tactical lick. So when the Manatee County Sheriff's Office reported returned with a verdict that he took his own life, there was an outpouring of outrage from Patrick's family and friends. According to them, Pat had no history of depression and didn't own a shotgun. They also pointed out that no blood, brain matter, bits of skull, or bodily fluids were found on Patrick's boat, meaning he had been snatched, taken to another location, and then executed before being dumped. It seems like an obvious conclusion, and it made law enforcement rebuttals sound even more unhinged. According to the police, Pat had wrapped himself in the rope attached to the anchor, perched on the edge of the craft, and then shot himself in the jaw with a shotgun angled upwards. They didn't bother to try and explain how he would have been able to reach the trigger, nor could they account for the fact that not a speck of forensic evidence was found on the boat. What's more, the lack of any powder burns near the entrance wound would indicate that Pat had been shot from a few feet away, which effectively ruled out the possibility of him taking his own life. Eventually, the doctor had once ruled Patrick's death Eventually, the doctor who had once... I wish there was another word for suicide. Can we make one up? Does anyone know one? Harikari? What's the weirdest story I ever read? I don't know. What about you guys? Wiz is chill. Smoked with him years ago before he got real big. That's cool. Wiz Khalifa. Wiz Khalifa. Maya with the 15 Aussie bucks says, I recommend the show Killer Instinct. It's a true crime TV show and it's got more information on the JP story. Okay. Appreciate that, yeah. Thank you for the 15, Maya. Unaliving himself, yeet out, delete themself, unalive, self-ghosting, kerplunk. The doctor who had once ruled Patrick's death a kerplunk. A self-obliteration, seppuku. I'd recommend the word flicked the wick. Personally, me, in my professional opinion, I'd say he flicked the wick. He goobered himself. What a goober. He canceled himself. Excommunicado. He got Epsteined. Sorry. Alright, I probably shouldn't be jumping. Okay, anyways. Eventually, the doctor who had once ruled Patrick's death, him taking his own life, completely reversed his decision and admitted that he's never seen a self-inflicted gunshot wound before. It also emerged that the sole reason police refused to entertain the possibility of murder was that Patrick, quote-unquote, didn't fit the profile of a murder victim. With it all but confirmed that Patrick had been murdered, friends and family began to speculate on the identity of his killer. It was suggested that Patrick ran into a group of armed drug smugglers while sailing and had inadvertently witnessed something they didn't want him to see. Citing what a neighborly individual Patrick was known to be, many suggested that he could have pulled up alongside someone's boat, believing them to be... Unbuttered his socks. Debuttered. I don't know if socks can be debuttered once they've been properly buttered. It's really weird though, like why are the police Why the hell are the police trying so hard to, like, I could understand maybe they don't want to do any more work, which would be a really sad thing, obviously, but, like, high school, oh, I think just because the guy was a high school teacher. But, like, why, it seems like they're actively, like, trying to just make it go away, and I don't, who knows, maybe they work with the drug people or something, because, you know, we hear about the DEA and shit like that, and how corrupt certain police departments can be, especially ones that are on the border and shit like that. You never fucking know, like, what plata o plomo shit is going on. Citing what a neighborly individual Patrick was known to be, many suggested that he could have pulled up alongside someone's boat, believing them to be in distress, only to stumble across something very unexpected and very illegal. Given the amount of money involved in international drug smuggling, it's entirely feasible that a trafficker might order Patrick's execution in order to secure their multi-million-dollar shipment. Bizarrely, there was also an indication that a close family friend had been involved in Patrick's death somehow. Damon Crestwood's alibi for that night changed on more than one occasion, and in stark contrast with Patrick's other family and friends, he seemed unusually reluctant to talk to law enforcement. This naturally made him a person of interest in the case, but before Crestwood could clean. Oh wow. Dude, this story's fucking wild. I actually like to hear like a more expanded version of this because it's almost over. Katie baby, thank you. Good to see you. This naturally made him a person of interest in the case, but before Crestwood could come clean with what he knew, he died of a crystal meth overdose in April of 2017. The investigation was also hampered by chronic incompetence and inexperience. The lead detective on the case had never conducted a murder investigation prior to Patrick's, and there were accusations that several pieces of evidence had been seriously mishandled. Despite the vehement protests of Patrick's friends and family, the prevailing theory among law enforcement remained that Patrick took his own life, yet Jill had not given up hope that her husband's murder will one day be solved. As recently as 2020, Jill was still canvassing the fairgrounds at the annual Manatee County Fair in the hopes that she could glean some new information regarding her husband's death. That same year, Jill and her attorney finally succeeded in getting the Florida Department of Law Enforcement to officially reclassify her husband's death as a homicide, as opposed to the undetermined label it held for years. What the fuck, man? I mean, I guess maybe the incompetence would make sense if they were inexperienced, but God, it's so sad. Like, how are you, like, what? Why would they put someone on? That was like his first. This is gonna be your first murder case. I mean, maybe it's a safe area. I don't fucking know. Ash with the 3. Thank you, Ash. What's happening? Kelly, thank you. New follower, you have a great voice to listen to for this craziness. Thank you. Yeah, I'm starting to see a decent bump in subscribers. That's pretty baller. Find your love here, girls. Whoa. I love. Where's Jacob at? Where's the bot killer? You didn't mean Squidward's clarinet. I was meaning Joel's background. I look for Sandy and Patrick and Mr. Krabs. Oh, okay. That's funny. They usually cross the screen at some point. Reaching 1 mil soon. I hope so. I'm still projecting it by the beginning of summer-ish. Haley, Thank you for the 2. Number one. What's up? Mega cubed. Calling 1 million subs by the first day of spring. Yeah, over or under on that. We gotta take bets, but not actually. You wish you'd read more than one sentence at a time in your lives. It's too hard. I can't pay attention. Gao Ting was born in March of 1989 in China's northern Shandong. I gotta make sure I'm saying that right. If this has a bunch of pronunciations from China, I might be Scrooged. Shandong. Gao Ting was born in March of 1989 in China's northern Shandong province. She was the daughter of a prominent businessman who was not only She was the daughter of a prominent businessman who not only ran large-scale machinery company, there's like random little grammar bullshit, fuck. She was the daughter of a prominent businessman who not only ran a large-scale machinery company, but was also a representative of the local People's Congress, a combination which made him a very influential man. In September of 2004, Gao Ting enrolled in a public boarding high school. The school housed many students on campus, including Gao Ting, but since her home was within walking distance, Gao often wandered back to her parents' house. Hey, question for friends who have cats. Does your cat ever attack its own tail? I mean, swat the tail like it's mad at it, not playful swat. I don't think so. I've never seen Pradeep go after his own tail before, to be honest with you. She was a gifted young lady, both musically and intellectually, and according to friends, she was perennially cheerful and optimistic. This sunny attitude served her well in late 2004 when Gao began suffering a series of health problems. These health problems, which had been described as having cold or flu-like symptoms, resulted in Gao Ting being excused from her school's morning exercises, and she was only obliged to attend classes before she returned home for lunch. She would usually return to school at around 12:30 p.m., but on January 10th of 2005, Gao Ting failed to reappear when expected. By 9:40 p.m., Gao Ting had still not reappeared after leaving school, yet she didn't appear to be at home either. This is where a degree of miscommunication occurred, as both Gao Ting's school and her parents seemed to assume that she was in the care of the other party. The next morning, Gao Ting's father assumed his daughter had reappeared at school, but after talking to her classmates and teachers, it became increasingly clear that she had gone missing. Gao Ting's increasingly concerned parents began searching her personal belongings, but the only clue to her whereabouts was a phone number and address for a restaurant in the nearby city of Zibo. The owner of the business had a child who shared a class with Gao Ting, but the two weren't friends, and there was no apparent reason why she might visit the restaurant. It took until January 14th for Gao Ting's parents to finally accept that their daughter was in serious danger, and her father telephoned the local police to file a missing persons report. At the time of her disappearance, Gao was said to be wearing a yellow down jacket, white casual jeans, and brown sneakers. She was also carrying copies of 2 distinct English language university textbooks. Shift IL with the 10. Thank you. Says hi. Since now, I think it's been a while. Good to see you. Yeah, how are you? I guess you were... I remember seeing you, I think, like a week or 2 ago. But since then, it had been a little bit. But it's good to see you. And what's crappin', my friend? Thank you for the 10. She was also carrying She was also, sorry. Hey, Ray Baby with the 5 says, just wanted to let you know your podcast is the background track for my daily afternoon naps. Never seen your live before, so thought I'd say thanks. Well, thank you, Ray. I appreciate you popping in, and I appreciate you keeping me running in the background. It keeps my memory living on into the future. You heard Pradeep? I don't think so. Unless I didn't hear it. What's up, Angel? She was also carrying copies of 2 distinct English language university textbooks, along with a blue leather wallet and 3 keys. Local law enforcement began by questioning Galting's teachers and classmates, in particular a group of boys who had been exempt from morning exercises that she had been excused from. They also conducted intensive searches of the school buildings, as well as the wider campus, before concluding that Galting had simply run away from home. Galting's parents vehemently rejected the idea, citing the numerous personal possessions that she had left behind. If she was going to run away for any extended period of time, she'd have taken a lot more than just some school books in her purse. Anticipating the incompetence and apathy of local police, Ting's influential father poured over $40,000 worth of his own money into various publicity campaigns, and while they succeeded in raising awareness of Galting's disappearance, weeks went by without any significant progress. By mid-February, the students of Galting's boarding school had all gone home for winter break, a time when the school's staff took the opportunity to deep clean the site. 2 of the school's janitors were in the process of cleaning an old restroom, one that had been locked and disused and abandoned during the winter of 2004. In order to accommodate the large number of students, the bathroom was designed to be very large, with 2 separate sections divided by a lockable door. But when the janitors tried to open this door, they found that something had been stuffed inside the lock. They were forced to return with a wrench and pliers to pry off the padlock, and after considerable effort, they were finally able to access the second area of the restroom. And when they did so, they were greeted by a stomach-churning stench and a scene of absolute horror. Lying face up on the ground, partially decomposed, was the body of the missing 15-year-old girl, Galting. Her torso had been partially covered by a white plastic bag, and her killer appeared to have laid her body down on a red puffer jacket. These were not the same clothes, Stephanie with the 2 says dark web stories for members only. Yes, thank you for the reminder. I do need to upload that. I literally have the video. We have the videotapes, ladies and gentlemen. And I have to get that up. I just totally spaced last time because I was going to do it after the stream, and then I would never play Overwatch or anything like that. You discovered edibles. Uh-oh. You might still be high and this is just a hallucination. Can I start the whole episode over for you? Sure, yeah. Okay, story 1, we're going to start over. These were not the same clothes Galting had been wearing on the day of her disappearance, and while her other belongings had been scattered around her body, her blue leather wallet was never recovered. Blood and hair belonging to Galting was discovered on another part of the tiled floor, indicating either some kind of violent struggle or that her body had been dragged along the floor following her death. Following another intensive search of the school buildings with a particular hocus pocus. Following another intensive search of the school buildings, with a particular focus on the dormitories, minute amounts of blood were found splattered on a wall in one of the boys' dorms. Someone had attempted to hide these bloodstains by positioning a bunk bed in front of them, and if it wasn't for a Tell a story about puppies. Do they have any? If you can find a subreddit where they tell stories about their puppies, I will read one that's not too long. I am kind of blazing through these. I don't even know. Wait. The live stream timer reset. That's really weird, actually, because right whenever I said let's restart this, the live stream timer reset itself. Huh. That's kind of weird. It's like really odd timing, because it should be going on like 2 hours or so, but weird. Boo, puppies. I'm in the simulation and I broke it. Oh, it's voice activated? Oh, fuck. Timer reset. Let's see if it does it. It's not doing it. I don't know. The stream still says 2 hours ago. Okay. What if I checked? Oh yeah, about 10 minutes ago it says stream is disconnected, attempting to reconnect. Okay. I guess there was an interruption. I don't know if you guys got that about 10 minutes ago. I did glitch a while ago. Okay. Lo-Fi, do you I don't know. Do you have any suggestions for Streamlabs to make it better? I really would love to be able to like stream at ultra low latency, like real time, so I could just interact with you guys in real time, because my internet is pretty decent. It's like around a gig, you know? It's like pretty good. And I'm just so surprised that like with a gig internet you can't do like ultra low latency, and I don't know if that's like an issue with Streamlabs or what that is. Someone had attempted to hide these bloodstains by positioning a bunk bed in front of them, and if it wasn't for a maintenance worker recognizing the odd positioning, the blood might never have been discovered. An autopsy placed Gao Ting's time of death as being on the afternoon of January 10th, the same day she went missing, and that the cause of death appeared to be suffocation. Gao Ting's killer had apparently used her own scarf as the murder weapon, and had 3 distinct fingerprints on her cheek in the process. These fingerprints didn't appear in any of the Chinese police's database, and since no one will, You do low latency and it works fine. I just got doing a 3-hour stream on one of my channels and had no issue. Damn. Yeah, anytime I do low latency, it's like good, but everybody says like, oh, it's like buffering for me. So I don't know if that's like on their end or my end, or I don't know. It's just weird. These fingerprints didn't appear in any of the Chinese police's database, and since no one with any criminal convictions was employed at the school, law enforcement deduced that the killer must have been another student. Gao Ting had 4 separate wounds to her head, and some of which indicated blunt force trauma, while others suggested that they had resulted from a fall. Police noted that Gao Ting had also suffered dozens of small cuts to her limbs and torsos. Fuck. Police noted that Gao Ting had also suffered dozens of small cuts to her limbs and torso, cuts which appeared to have been inflicted after death. There was also a large 17-centimeter vertical cut from the middle of her breast to her navel, as if her killer had hesitated on disemboweling her, and sadly, there were some rather obvious indications that Gao Ting had been violated following her death. With these details in mind, the police began questioning 4 male students who had skipped morning exercises on the day of Gao Ting's disappearance. Wang Pang Ming. Oh, this guy just wants to torture me. Holy shit. Hey, Rob. With the 5, thank you. Appreciate you. Vouch. I'm a school custodian. Found a jacket, one that looked like so much like a dead kid on the floor with their pants and all drying from the snow day. Almost threw up on the spot. Can't imagine real. Yeah, yikes. Wang Pang Ming, Yang Xiangling, Li Debing, and Song Wen Si. Alright, I guess those aren't too bad. With these details in mind, the police began questioning 4 male students who had skipped morning exercises the day of Gao Ting's disappearance. Wang Pang Ming, Yang Xiangling, fuck. So annoying. Bing Chilling. Wang Pang Ming, Yang Xiangling, Li Debing, and Song Wen Si, who were all questioned intensively by both police officers and school officials, but a particular focus was shown to Song Wen Si, who had slept in the bed nearest to the concealed bloodstains. Song claimed that the bed had been moved during a parent-teacher meeting that had occurred during the winter vacation, and insisted he had no idea the bloodstain was there. This was later corroborated following the return of DNA analysis results, which conclusively proved that the blood did not belong to either Gao Ting or Song Wen Si. It was a frustrating development, but police were forced to look elsewhere for Gao Ting's killer. The police then turned to Yang Xiangling, and during his round of questioning, he told the police that the reason why he didn't partake in morning exercises was due to frostbite on his feet. Instead, he had been folding bedsheets in the dorm when, around 6:20 a.m., he suddenly heard screams coming from somewhere else close by. All 4 of the accused then assembled. Rambo Crambo with the 10. I ain't no scaredy cat at Rob. Are you guys fighting? Please, gentlemen, take it outside. But thank you for the 10, Rambo, and thank you again, Rob, for the 5. All 4 of the accused then assembled in their rush to discover the source of the screams, each claiming to see two men standing near them. All 4 of the accused then assembled in their rush to discover the source of the screams, each claiming to see 2 men standing near the abandoned bathroom where Gao Ting's body was found. Yang claimed he tried to talk to the men, but they departed in a hurry. He later described one as being tall while the other was short, but because they were in a poorly lit corridor, he couldn't catch exactly who they were. Li Ding explained his absence. Wait, was there a Li Ding? Wait, Li Ding or Li Ding? Li Ding. I'm just gonna go with Li Ding. I think it was a spelling error. Li Debing explained his absence from morning exercises by claiming he has a stomach ache, but confirmed that Wang and Yang were in the dorms at the time of Gao Ting's murder. However, Li claimed that he hadn't heard any screaming like the kind Yang and Wang had described, and insisted the boys must have been mistaken. Yet Li's testimony was later omitted from reports, as his apparent mundane testimony did not provide any new information. Sometime later, the police announced that based on the testimonies of 2 of the schoolboys, a man named Zhang Zichao was being considered their number suspect. God, that's fuck. Fuck. Zhang Zichao. Sometime later, the police announced that based on the testimonies of 2 of the schoolboys, a man named Zhang Zichao was being considered their #1 suspect. Zhang Zichao was born on May 28th of 1989 and had just entered the high school that year. He had first drawn suspicion to himself when he told police that he had no idea Gao Ting was even missing, something which didn't correlate with the fact that her disappearance was the talk of the school. The four boys also named Zhang as the fifth male student who had been hanging around the dorms that day, and combined with the inconsistency, the police saw fit to bring him in for questioning. After an interrogation which lasted 30 consecutive hours, Zhang Zichao confessed to the brutal murder and mutilation of Gao Ting. Yet all was not as it seemed. Zhang was said to have been brutally tortured during his time in custody, and he claimed he could barely stand during a visit with them following his supposed confession. Human rights lawyers have claimed that in one incident, the police asked him what color Gao Ting's clothing was, and every time he gave them the wrong color, they would slap him across the face with his own shoes until he blindly guessed the correct color of clothing. After that, he was forced to sign a statement which implicated himself as follows. On the morning of January 10, 2005, Zhang woke up before sunrise and began reading a book of short horror stories. The gruesome tales then supposedly inspired him to commit his own grisly crime, and after heading out into the dorm halls to look for a victim, he found Gao Ting. After holding a small blade to the girl's throat, Zhang apparently dragged her into the men's bathroom and held her onto the ground. When Gao started screaming for help, he wrapped her scarf around her neck, strangling her before the mutilation began in earnest. Once he had re-emerged from his haze of bloodlust, Zhang then hid the body in the corner of the abandoned bathroom before enlisting the help of Wang Pangming and sealing the bathroom shut. When they had finished, the two quickly resumed their morning studies as if nothing had happened, but according to the police, Zhang wasn't finished with his victim. They claimed he returned on several occasions to toy with Gao Ting's lifeless corpse. Zhang's trial took place on March 6 of 2006, but was closed to the public due to him being under the age of 18. Despite a complete lack of physical evidence, Zhang was found guilty and only received a life sentence as opposed to the death penalty because of his young age. It took until 2011 for Zhang to speak out regarding the torture he had undergone, and he began to profess his innocence to anyone who would listen. He filed an appeal, but it failed, and he was forced to turn to his family, who in turn found two lawyers who agreed to take on the case. The two lawyers managed to convince the court to hold a hearing, and in 2017, the Chinese Supreme Court reviewed the case. They found that no forensic material implicating Zhang was ever extracted, and they seemed to acknowledge and accept his claim on being tortured into confessing. Finally, on November 16th of 2017, the Chinese Supreme Court ordered a retrial. The Zibo City Intermediate People's Court finally held the retrial. Oh, man. That's so fucked. Imagine just being like I don't know, just a young kid. Imagine being like 15 years old and just accused of a murder, and then the police beat the shit out of you till you, like, admit to a murder you didn't commit while keeping you awake for over 30 hours. God, I was waiting for that too. I'm like, this is China. Like, there's no fucking way that the police are actually doing their job. God, that's so fucked. The Zibo City Intermediate People's Court finally held the retrial 2 years later, and the court was shocked to hear the state's prosecutor personally recommending that Zhang be acquitted. His family and friends were finally able to celebrate in January of 2020, when the court deemed that his confession was coerced, and Zhang Zichao was finally formally acquitted. Gao Ting's family agreed with the verdict and acknowledged that Zhang was innocent, and in January of 2021, Zhang was... Today's officially your birthday. Happy birthday, Galactic Bitch. Everybody say happy B-Day. Gao Ting's family agreed with the verdict and acknowledged that Zhang was innocent, and in January of 2021, Zhang was rewarded with a 3.32 million yuan in yuan. Gao Ting's family agreed with the verdict and acknowledged that Zhang was innocent, and in January of 2021, Zhang was rewarded with 3.32 million yuan in compensation. 12 different members of the Chinese authorities, from police officers to prosecutors, were all held accountable and punished for their mistakes. But even so, the case had drawn such widespread attention that Zhang was forced to change his name from Zhang Zichao to Zhang Chou, and he now lives in Jiangsu province, where he works in the catering industry. Sadly, the real killer of Gao Ting remains unknown to this day, meaning that a young man took the life of a fellow student and not only got away with it, but stayed silent with another while another spent several long years in prison. Happiest of the happies. Happy birthday, lippy dippy dippy doo. Happy birthday, it's your motherfucking birthday. Scribbity dip dip doo. Scribbity dip dip day. Scribbity dip dip dop dip 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 day. Alright, so I think we made it through all of those. Sheesh. Man, that went really quickly, to be honest with you. Damn. Well, I guess I'm reading my outro script if you guys want to maybe... Galactic bitch, since it's her birthday, she can think of something funny to say at the end. Tatted, yeah, no worries. Thank you. Hey friends, thanks for listening. Click that notification bell to be alerted of all future narrations. I release new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you got a story, be sure to submit them to my subreddit, r/Let'sReadOfficial, and maybe even hear your story featured on the next video. And if you want to support me even more, grab early access to all future narrations and bonus content over on Patreon, or click that big join button to hear about the extra perks offered for the channel. And check out the Let's Read podcast, where you can hear all of these stories in big compilations and save huge on data, located anywhere you listen to podcasts. Links in the description below. Thanks so much, friends. And remember... Did she write anything? Thanks so much, Joel. This lovely call. I appreciate it. Oh. We love you too. One more story, please, as a birthday treat. Okay. But what do I say at the end, though? You have to pick that. To water your fry. Lick attack. Lick a tongue. Lick attack. I need to do comedy albums. What would I say on it? Would it be like Adam Sandler? Where I play on my kazoo and strum my guitar, and I say how I didn't get very far, 'cause I pooped my pants, I pooped. Tactical licks only. Da 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 da. I'm waiting. I'm waiting to see what she says. Maybe she got scared. Captain Insano shows no mercy. What? I love that shit. That movie was so good. Like when the quarterbacks were like terrified. Oh, I can't say penis in a story. Galactic. Or I don't know. You feel the pressure. That's okay. I remember, never put your penis into dead animals. I mean, it would be funny. I don't know if I can say that in a video. Tactical licks would be funny, though. And remember, tactical licks only. If your cat attacks its tail, it's probably stoned. Yeah, is your cat on drugs? Has it been hanging out with other unscrupulous kitty cats? Okay, let's go to the subreddit. And we'll read one more story for Galactic Biatch. Let me just disconnect this here, pull that plug here. Stick this up my butt. Alright. Oink. Oh. Okay. We're good. And now I'm free. I'm free. I'm free. You want a paranormal one? Okay. Ow, dude. Fuck, man. I gotta take my shoes off. I literally wore it. It's like to the point where it's like, whatever the fuck's wrong with my like arch in my foot on the right side with like these shoes, it like, I don't even know what the fuck, it like sends a fucking like shock up my foot. It's like more comfortable wearing the fucking chanclas. The chocolates. Okay. Okay, let's see. We're gonna sort them by top. I survived an active shooter. You want that one? Someone asked me about like school lockdowns before. We'll just do this one. This one goes out to the birthday girl. Anybody else who was born today as well. You sniff the screen. This story happened today. I'm shocked to say the least. I'm a 20-year-old female, and this happened this morning. I live in California in a small county that has spread out communities. I had to go to 2 hours to the nearest city to get a tire for our car, and we're getting ready to head out towards the city. I had to stop by the store to get a coffee and a payday bar, so I get into the store to get my items, and I realize something is seriously wrong in the store. For starters, the lady in the store are always cheery and happy. They were not, which I thought was odd, and I asked the owner what was going on while the other cashier was on the phone. She didn't answer, so I had to wait until the cashier got off the phone, and they said quietly that there is an active shooter who shot and killed in another town over and was heading our way. I started to pay for my items, and this old man comes in, and he looks like he was in his mid-30s, maybe early 40s, and he had a long beard and a camo Carhartt jacket on. He was acting really weird to where I got a bad vibe from him, but that was it. He smacked a $20 bill on the counter, but keep in mind, I'm not done with my transaction, and I look at him, and his response is, "I'm sorry," in a whisper, and I thought that was so strange. As I'm leaving the store, I saw a black SUV car in the parking lot that I assumed was his car. I get to the car and told my fiancée what was going on and how there was an active shooter 10 miles from where I lived, and we were heading in that direction as we were on the road, and we see an alarming amount of cop cars on the roads and EMS. And that's when we knew this was serious. This black car came up behind us. My fiance pulled over thinking it was a cop car, and he speeds off so fast that all of a sudden, the police cars flip back over and we're chasing towards that black SUV, but I didn't think much of it. We get to the city and we drive past feds and SWAT, and I kid you not, we saw a SWAT team heading to the small town that I mentioned. The active shooter had killed 2 people, and while I was in the city, he went to where I used to live, barricaded the doors, and took the family who lived there hostage. I head home and went to the store previously as mentioned, and I got confirmation that he killed himself after the police sat outside the house for 6 hours. The man in the store who smacked the $20 bill in front of me was the active shooter. So in the end, a normal person who has been loved and been part of the community can kill somebody, and you wouldn't even know until they snap. Boom, shakalaka. There is your extra story for the night. Dr. Scholl's is for pussies. Not really. I don't know. I think I must got like, I don't know. How do you lose your arch in your feet? Is it just from standing still? Will I marry you? Maybe. You never know. But thank you, my friends, for everything. I always appreciate you guys being here for me and the support and love. And we're gonna keep doing this for fucking ever. I'm never gonna die. I'm gonna put my body into a robot thing because Elon Musk or something, I don't know. And I'm just gonna be forever in prison to read. Forever and ever. Who knows, maybe making my voice into an AI. It probably is going to happen soon. Joe, stop, we're having a Halloween villains wedding. Halloween villains? Like from the movie Halloween? Where everybody dresses up as a villain. An evil one. Do the Bing chilling. When will you do a live in-person reading? I saw that the Let's Not Me podcast does that, which I thought was pretty cool. But man, that would take a lot of coordination, like setting up shows, and I don't even know who would be interested to come like actually listen to it in person live. You know, I feel like I'd look out there and people would be falling asleep in their seats. And I definitely wouldn't make as much jokes, you know what I mean? Because I think I would be like really nervous. Tackle lick attacks. Lick attack. Alright, my friends, thank you again for everything. I will go ahead and yes, I'm going to get that for all the members, all the ones with green names. I'm going to get that Deep Web Stories up. If not, please remind me in some fashion or another, and I will have them up. I promise. But also for anybody who's got early access over on Patreon, I will get these stories edited and up there first thing. It's only $1 a month over there. And yes, I'll be back. Well, new video tonight at 7 p.m. EST for your Friday. Wow, it's already Friday. Holy shit. And then I'll be back streaming probably this Sunday. So stay tuned. Okay, my friends. Goodbye. And sleep well.